The interesting thing about the concept of health or wealth, either one of them, is that they are relative terms. And what I mean by that is what feels wealthy to one person may feel like poverty to another. Same thing with health. What feels healthy to one person may feel like, golly, I'm really out of shape to another person. Well, hey there. Welcome back to the Dr. Crockett Show. I am your host, Dr. Susan Crockett. I am a board-certified OBGYN, and this is my co-host. I didn't think he was going to participate today. This is Ollie. The studio that we film in is called Ollie-Woodstudios, and Ollie's my little co-host. I thought he was probably just going to lay down and be a good boy, but after shooting the birthday episode earlier in the week, he has COOKIES on his mind. There he goes. All right, so where was I? I'm a board-certified OBGYN practicing in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm a specialist in minimally invasive GYN surgery, which is robotic surgery for women. Our practice is called Virtuosa GYN. We just moved into our brand new offices yesterday and the day before. I have an incredible staff, and I've got so much good footage to show you guys. We are going to shoot an episode of the Dr. Crockett Show in the new office in just a few weeks once we have pictures on the walls, actually, and everything put away. But we start seeing patients there on Monday morning, and I am so excited because the whole mission and purpose of the Virtuosa GYN practice, which I founded about 10 years ago, is to make surgery easier for women. That's right. It's an act of service. It's making the whole process of having to go through something very scary where they need to get fixed. My whole goal in life is to have a woman come back after having her surgery and say, hey, that wasn't that bad. I live for that. I love it. And that's what drives everything we do. So about 5 years ago, we had the idea that I could do a better job at creating that level of value for our customers, our patients, by being in a different type of office, by being in an office where I was actually in the building where I was doing surgery. And at long last, that has come to fruition. And we're seeing all kinds of, golly, the ball is just rolling. There's like a multiplied gains. It's exponential gains just by shifting into this new format of doing the practice. And that's on top of it just being an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful office. Beautiful office. So that's our lead-in for today. Today, we are talking about how to feel healthy and wealthy. And we do that as an example through our practice and through the Dr. Crockett Show. Bear in mind, we're all a work in progress, and that includes me. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference of having a lot of money and being wealthy, or having a certain level of fitness and feeling healthy. And the interesting thing about health and wealth are the secrets to feeling healthy and the secrets to feeling wealthy. They are the exact same thing. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, the exact same thing that you can do. I'm going to tell you later in the show. I'm going to teach you about how you can feel healthy and wealthy no matter what your circumstances are right now. And it's the same for both of them. So see if you can guess what it is as we kind of go through the show. It's a pretty short show, just about 15 minutes. So the interesting thing about the concept of health or wealth, either one of them, is that they are relative terms. And what I mean by that is what feels wealthy to one person may feel like poverty to another. Same thing with health. What feels healthy to one person may feel like, golly, I'm really out of shape to another person. So the first thing to know about the idea of feeling better, feeling healthy, or feeling wealthy is that neither one has to do with your circumstance. Neither one has to do with the absolute amount of money that you have or the absolute amount of health or wellness or fitness that you have. Once you start questioning that and understanding that, it allows you to shift what I call from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. That's the second part of this. So both of these things, health and wealth, are both both feelings that you generate. So the circumstance of health or the circumstance of wealth may be different. But if you are constantly feeling like there's a scarcity around you, if you're constantly feeling like this about money, like I got to hang on to it because I don't have enough, or I better, put it away because you never know what's going to happen next, or I have to sweep up all the confetti and save it for next year because I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to buy the confetti next year. Those kinds of things will make you feel unhealthy and unwealthy. You can do the same thing with your health. You can walk around all day long beating yourself up about those couple extra pounds that you have, or about not taking care of yourself with your diet or exercise, or seeing your doctor and taking your medications. You can have that scarcity mindset of, oh, I'm getting older and worse and I'm falling apart and I feel awful. Or you can change your mindset on both of these things to an open hand, which is an abundance mindset. People who have an abundance mindset have a tremendous advantage over people who have a scarcity mindset. People with a scarcity mindset see a life as a pie that's cut into pieces, and they're always trying to preserve their piece of the pie or get more of the pie. Abundance-minded people don't see that. Abundance-minded people don't see the pie. The first time I ever really heard this analogy was when I was becoming a new mom. And, I'd had the idea that I wanted a family. I had my first beautiful child, my daughter, and I loved her so much. It was just incredible the first time I saw her smile, and she's an amazing young woman now. And then I got pregnant right off of that. With my oldest son, right off of finishing nursing with her. As a matter of fact, just went bam, right into getting pregnant, which was really surprising to me because I had some infertility and needed help getting pregnant to begin with. So once it got going, it didn't stop until I'd had all 4 of my kids, and they're amazing young adults now. But back to my story. So I was pregnant with my oldest son, and I would look at Lindsay, who was about a year old, and I would think, gosh, you know what? I could never love another child as much as I love my first child, right? Like I thought of it like our family like a pie. Like, how could I love another one? And somebody told me, they said, a family and a mom's heart is not a pie. It's endless. It's endless abundance of love. It multiplies, and there is no pie. And you'll see as you have additional relationships and additional children in your life that the love just keeps growing and building. It's not a pie to be divided amongst 2 of them or 4 of them. It is your love for your children and your family. It just gets bigger and bigger. And that's an abundance mindset. We experience that very naturally as parents, having an increasing capacity to love our children. Well, similar thing happens with our health and with our wealth or our money when we start shifting our brain from feeling like we have to hang on really, really tight because things are scarce. Our health is scarce. Our money is scarce. Even if you have the same exact amount of money, if you can change your mindset to thinking about the blessings that you have and the fact that you know how to create more health and wealth in your life. Do you? Do you know how to create health and wealth in your life? That's the third part of this. I'm going to tell you how to do that. So once you have that confidence to know that you can create more health in yourself, or you can choose to create more wealth, you learn how to fish so you can give all the fish away that you want and you can go make more, right? You can go catch more. What's that Lay's Doritos commercial? Eat all you want, we'll make more. It reminds me of that. Once you have that freedom, then God, it's a huge blessing, and that's where the feeling of health and wealth truly come from. So, are you ready for the secret? Part 3: the secret of how to create a feeling of health and wealth in your life is by looking for acts of service, for looking to how you can create value for others. This is super, super important. Once you shift your mindset from one of scarcity, where you're thinking about yourself and having to hold on to things, and you shift to a mindset of how can I create value for others? That, my friends, that is the secret. That is the secret to feeling healthier, to feeling more emotionally healthy, to feeling more physically healthy, and also to feeling more wealthy. Because when you shift to creating value for other people, that's where all the rest of it follows. So a lot of times people will start businesses. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm getting better at it as I go. I would like to think so anyway. But, people ask me about starting businesses, or particularly in the surgical field that I'm in right now, this MIGS, or minimally invasive GYN subspecialty. It's a fairly new emerging subspecialty in OBGYN. And there are some huge challenges regarding reimbursement and the volume that you have to do to be able to create a viable practice. And so people are looking at me, seeing that I've done this for about 10 years. I'm stepping up more into a teaching role with intuitive surgical and just the robotics in general. We're creating a teaching platform to teach surgery, which is going to be launched further down later this year as we're launching our new outpatient surgery center robotic ORs in San Antonio, Texas. Didn't mean to digress all that way down, but what I wanted to say is, as people are asking me about my business and how I'm able to create wealth or profitability and sustainability with myself and my businesses, the key is I started looking at what I could do to serve others. And this went way, way back to some of the teachings I got from church when I was younger. There's a story that Jesus taught in the Bible. I'm not going to go all Jesus on you, but the story is a good one. So the story is about the talents, and the story is about a wealthy man who gave 3 of his servants talents, which are like money. He gave one of them 1 talent, one of them 2, and the other one 5. I think. I don't remember. I haven't looked at the story in a long time, but. So he went away, he went on a trip, and he came back, and he asked them to report, what did you do with your talents? And the one who had gotten the 5 talents had doubled that. He'd invested it and doubled it, and he gave the wealthy man back the 5 talents plus had doubled his profit. And he said, well done. The second man, who had gotten 2 talents, also had invested and brought back a profit for the owner. And so again, the owner said, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You've done well." The third man, who had only been given 1 talent, gave him back the exact same talent. He said, "Look, I saved this for you, and I gave it. I'm giving it back to you." And the man was very upset because he hadn't invested the talent that he had. He hadn't lost anything, but he also hadn't multiplied it or gained anything, and he had wasted that talent. So the fact that the word talent was in this, I think, struck me as a kid, because I thought about not the talent in the way of a coin, but I thought about a talent in the gifts that I had been blessed with or given through my family, and just things that I was able to do, and just the things that that created me as a kid. And I thought, I've got a responsibility to use my talents to the best of my ability and to figure out how to be of service in this world to others. And I had linked it in that story, and that Bible story, in my brain so much that I think fundamentally at a very early age, I understood that the profit margin follows your profitability, and your wealth follows creating value for others. So how can you do this in a practical setting? I'm going to give you 3 different ways that you can create value or think about this in your life. One is with what you do as a vocation. So instead of just thinking of your job as something that you go to get a paycheck, I'm going to challenge you to think about how your current job, how you're serving others, how you're creating value for others in the work that you're doing. Maybe it's for the community. Maybe it's for your boss. Maybe it's, maybe you work for Toyota as a manufacturer on the auto line, and maybe your contribution as far as your work goes for creating value in this world is that you're helping people get around. You're creating the automobiles that we all get around in. My point is, your vocation, no matter what you're doing, in some way is creating value for others, whether you recognize it or not. But when you start looking at it that way, it brings a tremendous amount of health and happiness and wealth, because you feel You feel a sense of worthiness and accomplishment and self-empowerment when you realize that you're not just getting a paycheck that's undeserved. This is the key to getting rid of imposter syndrome. This is the key to feeling like you have value and worth in the world. It's not coming from the paycheck. It's coming from realizing the value that you're creating for others in the world. The second way that you can practice this is within your relationships. You can think about how you can create value to your loved ones. And a good example of that would be, my friend Starley came over today, and I was thinking, how can I create value in the lunch and the food that we serve today? So I created this amazing salmon recipe with it wasn't sun-dried tomatoes. It was broiled tomatoes and wilted spinach, and it was just delicious, yummy. But I felt very healthy eating that food. First of all, because it was whole food, not completely plant-based because it was salmon, but had a lot of the good whole food plants in it, and the salmon had the omegas that I do so well with. But I felt healthy, and I also felt wealthy in our friendship, in that I was preparing this for us to have some time together and good conversation and good food, and that it was feeding our bodies in a good way too. I was creating value both physically and emotionally for our relationship as I was preparing that food for us. So that's another way that you can consider how you're creating value in the world. I bet you can think of other things that you do within your family where you're creating value for your spouse or your children or your parents. The third place where you can create wealth or create value for other people is in using your brain power. And this is becoming even more important now that AI is really taking off in our society. When you take the time to think and create and to give to the world your perspective and your unique ability to process and put pieces together and to think and to use your brain power and come up with ideas, you are creating tremendous value, not just for yourself, but also for society. And so those are 3 ways that you can learn to create value in this world. And I promise you that as you start practicing this and you start looking around at your life and thinking of it in terms of the value you're creating, all of a sudden you're going to shift into abundance mindset, because you're going to see the abundance all around you and the possibilities of the abundance that you can co-create in your world. And that, my friends, is the secret to feeling healthy and wealthy. Be blessed. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Have a wonderful week. Bye.